Coming up on Network Africa. South Africa's President Jacob Zuma still in the news as he denies owning property in the UAE city of Dubai. Israel's Prime Minister meets with African leaders in Liberia. And Africa celebrates World Environment Day. A very warm welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers. Before we begin, let's take a look at some of the stories that made headlines over the weekend.
Lesotho's opposition leader, Thomas Thabane, cast his vote in the country's general election on Saturday, promising to make the mountainous southern African kingdom a beacon of hope for Africa if victorious. All Basato Convention head Thabane, who governed Lesotho from 2012 until 2015, cast his ballot mid-morning at the polling station in the capital, Maseru. Thabane is the main rival to Prime Minister Pakalita Mosisili, who lost a confidence vote in Parliament in March after several defections by ruling coalition lawmakers to the opposition eroded his support.
Lesotho must now become a full member of the international community that lives according to the basic principles of democracy. Regular elections are some of those. Control of the army, control of the police by civilian authority, all those things are part and parcel of true democracy. This hasn't happened quite a lot in Africa. I'm meaning before I retire to make Lesotho a beacon of hope for Africa.
The landlocked country, surrounded by South Africa, has had King Letsie III as head of state since 1996. But political leadership has been volatile in recent years, with the last two elections failing to produce a winner with a clear majority. In Zimbabwe, President Robert Mugabe called for unity in his ruling ZANU-PF party, which has been riven by infighting over who will eventually succeed the world's oldest leader. Mugabe, who is 93 years old, has ruled the southern African nation since independence from Britain in 1980. And wants to seek another 5-year term next year, his last under the Constitution, despite concerns over his health. The veteran leader, who looks increasingly frail, has made 2 trips this year to Singapore for medical checks, which his spokesman said were related to his eyes. Private media have reported that Mugabe has prostate cancer, which officials deny. Addressing a ZANU-PF youth rally in Marondera town, some 70 kilometers east of the capital Harare, Mugabe said different party factions were preoccupied with plotting how to take over from him, saying some of the plots had assumed tribal overtones. Elsewhere, 7 illegal migrants were found dead in a refrigerated truck, which was left abandoned on the shores of Karabuli town, around 65 kilometers east of Tripoli. Libyan authorities found the truck with 34 African migrants held inside, 7 of whom appear to have died of suffocation. According to the migrants, smugglers packed them into the back of the truck to transport them to a boat which they will use to cross the Mediterranean. The migrants said the truck driver left the vehicle on the side of the road after unknown gunmen began firing at the tires. They were locked inside the truck for 2 days before officers found them early Sunday morning.
ECOWAS has approved Morocco being absorbed into the regional body despite it being in North Africa. The country had applied for membership after it succeeded in re-entering the African Union. Morocco had left in 1984 after it recognized the independence of Western Sahara. Morocco regards that part of Africa as part of its historic territory and has spent much of the last 3 decades trying to strengthen ties with Europe at the expense of its relations with the rest of Africa. ECOWAS is made up of 15 West African countries, none of which share a border with Morocco. President Jacob Zuma of South Africa has denied ownership of a palace in the United Arab Emirates following reports it was bought for him by the influential Gupta family. A statement from his office says that the president does not own any property outside of South Africa and did not request for anyone to buy him property abroad. The South African Sunday Times newspapers reports that the Gupta family purchased the home for 330 million rand in an upmarket suburb of Dubai. It did not name its sources, but said that they included businessmen, senior officials of the ruling ANC and people close to the Zuma family. Graft accusations in more than 100,000 leaked documents and emails last week heaped more pressure on the scandal-plagued Zuma only days after he survived a no-confidence vote by members of his own party. The Gupta family, wealthy Indian-born businessmen whose companies have contracts with state-owned firms, have denied all allegations of influence peddling or improper dealings, and through a spokesman last week labeled the emails as fake news.